Hey guys, Tyler here, and thank you for checking out this video. And it's hard to believe another expansion is almost over, and we're finally here in the Season 4 of Dragonflight Mythic Plus. So today, that's what this guide is going to be all about. It'll be my final, most likely, final guide for Dragonflight. So we're going to be talking about all things Season 4 of Dragonflight Mythic Plus, as well as the Awakened raids. So we are going to see those original 8 dungeons, this tier, and also all 3 raids. So in this video, I will have all the information that you need to get the most out of your Marksman Hunter for Season 4. I think we're going to be in a pretty decent spot. There's a lot of really coveted items that we'll finally have at our disposal all at once. And with that, coupled with a really great tier set as well. So in this video, I'll have your stat priorities, your rotations, openers, your talent builds, your embellishments, items to shoot for, little tidbits. We'll talk about our tier set just a little bit. I'm going to try to make this guide very inclusive for both those returning to the spec, if you've maybe taken some time off, trying to roll an alt, or trying the spec out for the very first time. All that information will be found down in the description of the video if I do change anything as well, since I won't be able to update this video once it does go live. There will be timestamps down there, and if any of those changes are made, they will be found in the description and the pinned comment. So I've already talked enough. Let's go ahead and talk about my favorite spec in the game, Marksman Hunter. Let's get started.
Mr. Eggplant presents.
So I know I say all the time that I talk too much in these videos, but I just wanted to give you guys a big shout out and thank you for supporting me here on YouTube for yet another expansion. Dragonflight and World of Warcraft as a whole is a fun game that I play, but it's nothing compared to the joy that I get from sharing my love for my favorite spec in the game, Marksman Hunter, with players literally all over the world thanks to the power of YouTube. I am nothing without you guys, so I appreciate all of your support. In fact, I literally get to talk to players from all over the world. I've counted in 42 different countries now, which is crazy. All different walks of life, and of course through language barriers, and I could not do that without you guys. So I look forward to sharing my experiences in Season 4. I will have my Awakened raids live for you guys on Tuesdays and Wednesdays with my guild Drexit from 6 to 9 p.m. approximately Central Time. I have a new podcast that we've launched called In the Mountains with Zaft and Glitch and I. We have a ton of fun riffing off of each other. We never stay on topic. We constantly go on tangents, and I wouldn't have it any other way. And then finally, I do have a little other things like pet tame videos. I have over 180 pets for all 3 hunter specs here in World of Warcraft down in a ginormous playlist. I hope you guys will check those out. I cannot wait to share my experiences with you guys for Dragonflight, and then for the end of Dragonflight, and then into War Within. Maybe I'll get into that alpha or beta. We'll just have to wait and see. Anyway, let's go ahead and talk about the changes we can expect from Season 3 to Season 4. And honestly, there's not many, because in my opinion, the best tier set for Dragonflight has been chosen as our tier set for Season 4. So the Season 3 rotation that you've known over the last 20 weeks or so is going to be the same for Season 4 of Dragonflight Mythic Plus and the Awakened raids. So you can expect to have a much more fluid build. You have a lot more focus regeneration thanks to all those extra rapid fires, some of those even being double tapped thanks to our tier gear, which we'll talk about here in a second. You can expect really great burst every 2 minutes because you've got True Shot coupled with Unerring Vision. A large amount of secondary stats means particularly when you get into that bullseye range, when you're getting to use your kill shots, you can have almost a guaranteed crit every time you attack a boss, assuming you keep those stacks up. And then you can expect to also have really great AoE damage, particularly in pulls from 3 to 7 targets, thanks to either heavy shots or also, heavy ammo or light ammo. And then finally, overall, I think that the spec is in a much better place for your new players or returning players who haven't played in quite some time to just try out the spec. It's a little bit more takes a little bit more brain power, if you will, than Beast Mastery, just because Beast Mastery, there's just very few buttons you have to do, and you just send it all. So I do appreciate that Marksman's more fluid to play, but let's go ahead and check out that tier set that I was talking about, and then we'll really kick this guide off. So understanding the tier set bonus and how it affects our rotation is the key to doing some good damage here for Season 4. So the tier set from Season 3 did carry over to Season 4, like I said, so the 2 set reads as follows. Rapid Fire deals 20% additional damage, and then whenever you use Rapid Fire while you have the Trick Shots buff up, it causes you to launch a volley for 6 seconds, dealing 100% of normal damage. And then the 4 set reads as follows here. Every 10 focus you spend has a 3% chance to reset the cooldown of Rapid Fire and cause your next Rapid Fire to shoot 100% additional shots during the channel. So TLDR is your Rapid Fire is going to be doing 20% more damage with the 2 set, and then every time you have Trick Shots up, you want to follow that up with a Rapid Fire, and it will go ahead and launch a 6-second volley, which, by the way, gives you Trick Shots the entire duration of it. You want to do that as much as possible, and you don't even have to have volley picked as a talent. It could be on cooldown, doesn't matter. And then for the 4 set, that's just going to be gravy on top of it, because you're going to be really focusing on those Rapid Fires to get those volleys out. So every time you spend 10 focus, so for example, your aim shot is going to be 35 focus, so every time you spend one of your charges of aim shot, you have a 9% chance to reset the cooldown on top of the 15% chance you get from surging shots in your tree, and if it does hit that 4 set bonus, you do get basically double tapped Rapid Fires, which do a lot of damage. The best thing I can say is really trying to get the most out of these tier set bonuses by extending those volleys for as long as possible. For example, during your opener, which we'll talk about here in just a few minutes, what you can do is use all of your abilities. So, if you have Explosive Shot, you have Steel Trap, you have your Death Chakram, then throw down your volley so it's ticking, so you have 6 seconds of your Trick Shots, then follow that up with a True Shot, and then go aim shot, Rapid Fire, and when you do that, you're going to be in that 6-second window where you had Trick Shots, so then you're going to get another 6 seconds of volley, and then you're going to go aim shot, Rapid Fire, because those are coming back much faster during those True Shot windows. So basically what I'm saying is you can have volley up for the entire time you have True Shots, and even past that, depending on if you get some really lucky procs. It's really great in AoE because you're spending less global cooldowns on your multi-shots, which are now not doing as much damage. Or I should say, not that they're not doing damage, it's just Rapid Fires are readily available and doing like nuke damage at this point. So let's go ahead and check out the next section here, where we're going to be looking at our stats that you want to shoot for on your Marksman Hunter, and then we'll take a look at some of our talents. And speaking of secondary stats, I don't know that Marksman Hunter have ever been in a better position with our secondaries. In fact, there is no bad secondary stats, and you should not worry too much about what your secondary stat profile looks like. So as you guys can see here, weapon DPS is still going to be king for us. In fact, try to get your hands on a Razageth bow, particularly that Bullion or Dinar version ASAP. That way you can start pumping that up to get to max item level. And then you're going to have your main stat, which is going to be agility, and then as you can see there, I have crit and haste up to DR, and what DR is diminished returns. So I'm going to go ahead and show this really quick. I use an add-on called True Stat Values, and as you can see here, it puts a little bar there and tells you what DR will be for me, because it is a little bit different based on racials and based on points that you have in your tree. So for here, for example, see I have 0% penalty there, 0%, but I'm very, very close for haste, 0% for mastery, and 0% for versatility. TLDR is just basically try not to get into diminished returns so you're getting full value, because we can take advantage of every secondary stat. So for me, I take crit, because I do use a crit file too, so that's why my crit's a little bit lower. I keep that into consideration. But I do crit and haste up to diminished returns, or as close as possible. I might move some gems around so I'm not losing any value. And then I dump the rest into mastery and versatility. If you need some more survivability in your build, versatility is really good for that. It makes you do more damage and take less damage. And we need all the help we can get on that one. So let's go ahead and check out the talents for my builds. And now let's take a look at our talents we'll be using for both single target and for AoE. And I will say there's not too much difference between the two builds, which can be seen as a good thing and a bad thing. A good thing because you get used to the same rotation and cadence of abilities, they just have different names, like Arcane Shot versus Multi-Shot. But it does show how tight point spending is in our trees right now. There's a lot of things that are just flat out required to make us do decent damage. But looking at our build for single target over on the regular hunter side of things, you have your 2 points in serrated shots, 1 point in steel trap. You go ahead and pick up your death chakram and then put points down here until you can get to poison injection. A lot of this stuff up here for single target, like trank shot, tar trap, that sort of thing, really doesn't matter, but otherwise you're just going to be putting points in like concussive shot or trailblazer anyway, so those aren't a big deal. And then over here on the marksman side of things, you're going to put your points in surging shots, and then death blow, razor fragments, and volley. And that volley is there to really make your tier do some work for you, and it definitely allows the tier to do a ton of damage. And then you're going to put your points to get to true shot just like normal, and then legacy of the Windrunners and Windrunners Guidance. And Windrunners Guidance was changed after Season 2, so it doesn't just give you a random true shot for 6 seconds, just randomly. Now you can count on it. Unfortunately, it does not count for the very first true shot, the one, you know, that you're doing the most damage with at the beginning of a pull, but after that, you can get your stacks, which stack up to 10, and you get up to a 10-second bonus duration to your true shot while your unerring vision is completely stacked, I might add. So whenever you're true shotting in the middle of a fight and towards the end, thanks to Bullseye, you might have almost 100% chance to crit and be able to really climb up those DPS charts at the very end of an encounter. So this will be the build that will sim the best for you right now on your Marksman Hunter. There is one change I would make personally for me, and that's for my quality of life. I do not like Steel Trap. I'm just not a fan of it. So because of that, I will remove my point here, and I'm going to put it over here in Arctic Bola, because it's literally the only other one that does damage that I can actually put a point in. So I'm going to go ahead and save these here. What I'm saving here on the screen right now will be found down in the description of the video, and like I said, it does sim less damage. It's not a ton of difference. It's like 1% DPS loss or whatever. Because of that, I just much prefer to put the 2 points in Arctic Bola and then forget about it. A passive is much easier than dealing with our traps. And then looking at our AoE build, there are just a couple of changes. So we're going to remove one of those points in serrated shots and put it down here to explosive shot. Explosive shot can do a ton of damage for you in AoE or for Mythic Plus, because it hits up to 5 targets, but then it still hits everything else around it. Just does reduce damage, I should say. And then over on the Marksman Hunter side of the tree, we're going to take our point out of Lock and Load. We're going to take 1 point from Precise Shots, and then both points from Death Blow and from Razor Fragments. I'm going to move that to Multi-Shot, then Trick Shots. If you are doing a raid AoE encounter, you're probably going to run with heavy ammo or bullet storm. Just depends. For example, if I'm taking on Council in Vault of Incarnates, I'm going to run with heavy ammo, because there's no reason, unless you're going to be pulling, 7 targets, to even have light ammo. But for Mythic Plus, I run with light ammo. So that really depends on the fight in the encounter. And then you're going to put your point in Salvo. This here is what I run as an AoE Mythic Plus build. This is what you will see me using in a key. Now, there are a couple, I'm going to go ahead and save real quick. There are a couple of flex picks that you can make really fast. If you are on a high tyrannical key and you need some extra single target damage in your build, and you feel like you're just not going to cut it with this build, you can move your point from like improved steady shot. I wouldn't recommend it because quality of life goes down, but you can like move a point from Precise Shots and 1 point in Hunter's Knowledge and put those over here in Death Blow and Razor Fragments. I would only do that when you're really pushing those high keys and you have to get every little bit of single target damage out, otherwise these bosses will kill you. Other than that, I think that these builds are very solid. I hope you guys will try plugging and chugging those in your Mythic Plus keys or your single target boss encounters in Raid. Now let's go ahead and check out the next section, where we're going to be talking about your single target opener, that rotation, and then the rotation priority as a whole. And now let's go ahead and dive into our rotation. We'll start off with our opener first. We'll do single target and then the AoE one, just like we did last time. So you're going to see it up here on the screen, but we're going to do aim shot, then rapid fire, and then if you are using explosive shot shot in a Mythic Plus situation, or Steel Trap if you are choosing that. I choose not to, but again, that's your prerogative. Then Death Chakram, then Volley, then following up with your True Shot macro, which will have any on-use trinkets, any sort of pre-pots, racials, that sort of thing, and then Aim Shot, Rapid Fire, Aim Shot. And from there, you're literally just going to extend the duration of your volley the entire time and go Aim Shot, Rapid Fire, Aim Shot, Rapid Fire. And if you do get any kill shots that proc during that time, be sure and use them even during the True Shot window. So let's go ahead and try this out here. Let me move this up here real quick so you guys can see it just a little bit better. So we're going to start off, and it's going to be like a pre-casted 2.5 seconds before a pull timer starts, for example. Going to make sure we have that hunter's mark on the target, and then we'll just go to town. Oh, there we go. So we got up to about 340k, I think. So I did get a couple of nice kill shots that did proc during that. And by the way, just so you guys know, my item level is 486 while doing this. I'm using all of my gear from Season 3 still, and the embellishments I'm using is going to be one of the blue silk lining, and then the other one was the adaptive Dracothist Armguards. Now let's go ahead and check out the actual rotation priority for single target. And now let's go ahead and take a look at our single target rotation. And whether you have one hunter or you have 10 hunters in your group, just make sure one of them is casting Hunter's Mark on your target pre-pull. That way that your entire group is doing 5% additional damage while that target is above 80% health. And for the first time this expansion, kill shot is not the #1 priority for single target. That has been moved out of first place thanks to our tier bonus. So if you have trick shots up and your rapid fire is off cooldown, make sure you're using that every single time, because that gives you 6 seconds of volley, which allows you to cleave even in a single target situation. Just does more passive damage. And plus, you want that rapid fire on cooldown, because every time you're using any other focusing ability or your aim shot, you have a chance to get free rapid fires. More rapid fires equals more damage and higher DPS overall in your keys and also on your logs. And from there, just use your kill shot on cooldown, whether it's procced, even in your true shot window, doesn't matter. Send it every single time. I try to couple Death Chakram and Volley together since they are both 45-second cooldowns. They time up nicely together, but I will delay Volley just a little bit if True Shot is about ready to come off of cooldown. That way I can have Volley rolling, I get my rapid fires much quicker during True Shot, and then I can literally have Volley up the entire time. I just realized that it says Explosive Trap instead of Explosive Shot. My bad on that one, but if you have Explosive Shot or Steel Trap, go ahead and just send it on cooldown. And then when I do say use True Shot on cooldown, that's correct about 95% of the time. If there is a damage boost in a fight, for example, like Witherbark this last go around in the Everbloom, or on Smolderon, for example, when the lava orbs come out, try to delay your True Shot just a little bit, but I wouldn't do that more than 10 or 15 seconds at most. And then try to delay it just a little bit if you can get a True Shot out in that last 20% of a boss's health. So if a boss is at 24%, 23%, I'm going to delay it just so I can get those bullseye stacks stacking up to 30%, and then I can just unleash my True Shot and do obscene amounts of damage to try to really boost my damage on the charts. And then make sure that, this is one of the things that I say in every single video, do not let your charges of aim shot cap, or at least really try hard not to, because the more you let it cap, the less damage you're going to do, and more aim shots means more rapid fires, and they both drive this build really, really well right now. And then finally, if you want to just dump those precise shot procs, if you have nothing else going on, use your arcane shot for that, and then use steady shot as needed for focus regeneration. And now that single target's out of the way, let's take a look at our AoE opener or our Mythic Plus opener. And then just so you guys know, same exact build. I still have a 486 item level, still have the exact same embellishments, all that, no funny business. And it's the same talent build that I showed previously in this video. So you'll see it here on the screen, but it's going to be Explosive Shot, then Death Chakram, then your Volley plus Salvo macro, then your True Shot macro, then Aim Shot, Rapid Fire, Aim Shot, Rapid Fire. Basically, whenever you're in that True Shot window, use Rapid Fire. If it's on cooldown, use Aim Shot. If you have high enough haste and coupled with True Shot, you don't have to worry about ever running out of focus, which is amazing, and you don't have to worry about casting multi-shots in between each one thanks to our tier bonus set. Anyway, so let's go ahead and give this a go and join all these people who have been smashing these dummies for the better part of a couple hours now. All right, so I capped out at about 1.3 million. That's on a 5-target cleave without, extra external buffs, bloodlust, potions, that sort of thing. It's pretty strong. We have some really good burst AoE. So let's go ahead and take a look at an AoE rotation. And speaking of that AoE rotation, first and foremost, if you're going to cast Aim Shot or Rapid Fire, make sure you have Trick Shots up, whether that be through Volley or through Multi-Shot. So get in the habit of making sure you can cleave in the cleave build. So just like with single target, Rapid Fire on cooldown, but make sure you have that Trick Shots up, and then that will extend the volleys for your tier effect. And then use Kill Shot on cooldown if you are using Razor Fragments. So this is not in my normal build, but if you are using Death Blow plus Razor Fragments, you will use it just like you would in a single target encounter. That'll be mostly for a Mythic Plus build, for example, on high Tyrannical keys. Otherwise, then you're going to use your Explosive Shot on cooldown, delay it just a little bit if you know you can hit more targets. It only hits 5 targets for full damage, but it continually hits more targets after that. That's one reason why Salvo is so good. Then use your Death Chakram on cooldown. I delay that just a little bit to line it up with True Shot, but always use your Death Chakram with your Volley. That's the actual cooldown. Use that Volley plus Salvo on CD as much as possible. And same way with single target, True Shot on cooldown, but you can delay just for like a burn phase or to get a little bit more bullseye crit stacks to really do some crazy damage and cleave off of a low health target so you can continue to get those stacks up. And then use your Aim Shot on cooldown. Make sure you have Trick Shots up, just like before with Rapid Fire. And don't let your Aim Shots cap on charges. That's the #1 DPS loss. Or, honestly, not having Trick Shots up is also an Omega DPS loss. But if you want to dump those precise shots or get Trick Shots, you cast your Multi-Shot. And then finally, just go ahead and use your Steady Shot as needed for focus regeneration. I will put this right here as well. You can put Explosive Shot while you have Explosive Shot from Salvo on a target. You don't lose one of those. It does actually, like, quote, consume the buff, but it does go off twice. I promise you it does. I always get feedback and questions about that in all of my guides and all in my Mythic Plus runs, and I promise you, you do get both explosions. So now let's go ahead and check out the next section here, which is going to be talking about consumables and enchants, and then I'm also going to give you guys a few items that you should be targeting, including your embellishments, to start Season 4. And now on to that consumables and enchants section. So this really hasn't changed for the last couple of tiers. So for your flask, I prefer to use Corrupting Rage, but it also take into consideration it does damage you. But if you're an alchemist like me and can create it, you can lower that damage significantly. If you feel like you're already taking too much damage, you can always use those tepid versatility files. From there, I use the Fleeting Elemental Potion of Ultimate Power for my pre-pot. For food, I use Sizzling Seafood Medley, or I forget the Versatility food. I use that if I feel like I need a little bit extra of defensive boost to my build. For your cloak and for your wrists, I put avoidance on there. For your chest, I use waking stats or accelerated agility. I use accelerated agility because I'm going to go for Neltharion's Call to Dominance. When that procs, whenever you use your true shot, it slows you by 10%. That's the detriment. But accelerated agility gives you main stat, gives you agility, but it also gives you movement speed, so it counteracts it entirely, and it basically makes it nothing. I promise you, accelerated agility will be the way to go if you're running with the Neltharion's Call to Dominance trinket. And then looking at the boots, use Plains Runner's Breeze. For your rings, that changes. I put Haste or Crit or Mastery. You can literally be any of the four at this point. Just make sure that your ring enchant is not putting you into DR on any of those stats. For your legs, use Fierce Armor Kits. For gems, I have Crafty Emerald on there. That has been usually the go-to one for me. However, like with the ring enchant, don't go into diminished returns on any ring or any gem or any ring enchant. So just find one that gives you a combination of any of the stats and it will work just fine for you. And for your main gem, use that Fierce Eliminated Diamond. For your weapon, use High Intensity Thermal Scanner. The Pinion actually sims much better if you're looking at sims, but I promise you should run with High Intensity Thermal Scanner. And then for your oil, because I've actually remembered it for the last two tier videos now, is the completely safe rockets. And then moving on here to the next section is going to be the early targeted items for the patch. So obviously you want to have your tier set. That's so important. But the nice thing is that it can, I believe, drop out of any raid. You can get it from the Catalyst, get it pretty easy from Mythic Plus by Catalyst, some of those items. But you already have it because you played Season 3, so it's not as big of a deal, but you do definitely want it as a high item level as possible as quickly as you can. The number one priority for me, and really for all hunters in general, or at least the ranged version, are going to be the Neltharak's Enemy of the Sky, which is the Razageth bow. But if you get it with bullion from the... It costs 2 bullion, by the way. If you get it from the vendor, it will go all the way up to max level. So that's what I'm going to be shooting for, and I'm going to spend my bullion on Neltharax first. And then I would suggest picking up a Signet of Titanic Insight. It's super cheap. It's an automatic gem slot that you can add, and then you can add your silk or your blue silk lining for one of your embellishments. And I am going to be talking about the embellishments here really quick. So I would highly recommend getting a Signet. You can change that to whatever stat you want there, and it always pays because it's super cheap to recraft if you want to continually recraft it to change your stats around. And then here, I'm going to also try to pick up an Adaptive Dracothist Armguard. It's better for Raid than it is for Mythic Plus. It's really up to you. This is what I would do if I were you. I would either pick 2 items with blue silk lining, so there'd be 2 craftable items, or I would pick a blue silk lining and an Adaptive Dracothist Armguard. The Shadow Flame patch doesn't do as much damage, doesn't sim as well for us, and just more stats is never a bad thing. Even Adaptive Dracothist Armguards, when you quote get the bad buff whenever you're taking damage, it's stats. Stats are only going to help us because there's no bad stats from a marksman hunter right now. And then the main trinket that I'm going to be picking up is Neltharion's Call to Dominance. This thing was nerfed just a little bit ago, but it works completely different, or I should say our true shot, thanks to Windrunner's guidance, works completely different than it did back in Season 2 when this was a big trinket. Because you could just get random, 6 seconds of true shot at that point, and it would really screw up this Neltharion's Call to Dominance stacks. Because the way it works is it stacks up to 10, and then whenever you use your true shot, it expels the stacks. It slows you, so that's why you want to have that accelerated agility. But then it also gives you like 10k of your main stat when you need it most. When you have stacking crit, you're being able to dump just all of the aim shots, all of the rapid fires, almost guaranteeing you having volley up for it as well. It just works out so perfectly. So for you, I would suggest either picking an adaptive Dracathus Armguard plus blue silk lining or 2 blue silk linings, but that really is up to you. And if you are picking another blue silk lining, I would suggest putting it on either a back piece or a belt, just a different piece that's not going to interfere with some of our other builds. Heck, you could even make another crafted ring and put another of your blue silk lining embellishments on that. For me, I would personally pick a belt because I'm going to be going after the I believe it's the Fallen Star back piece that you can get from Sarkareth, because that's going to be on the bullion vendor as well. So let's go ahead and check out this next section. It's going to be very brief, talking about the macros and WeakAuras, and then how you guys can get that text document download over in my Discord. And now in this last section, it's going to be really quick. It's just going to be all of the macros and the WeakAuras that I use for my hunter. So they are on the screen right now, but I will put them in the text document along with my WeakAura strings over in my Discord. So all you guys have to do is accept the invitation that's in the description of this video, and then go and join the Discord. And then on the left hand side, there will be a section that says macros and add-ons, like WeakAuras section. That at the very top in the pinned section will be where the text document is. That's the easiest way I found to share it with you guys, because it's too long to share in a comment. So anyway, most of these are pretty self-explanatory. A lot of them are just stop casting macros. I have it for almost every one of my defensives. Something that I need to use at the last second, I will have a stop casting macro on there. And also I'll have a macro so my aim shot and my arcane shots don't interrupt the channeling of my rapid fire, which is very important. You do not want to clip those. And then finally, it also has my true shot macro that has a trinket ratio, that sort of thing on there. I have whichever trinket slot you're using, you just change either the 14 or the 13. And then I have other stuff like for volley and salvo at an at cursor macro. I have one for interrupt if you have a focus target, that sort of thing. And then the last little bit here, as you guys can see on the screen, these are just the WeakAuras I use. They are very, very basic, and basically all I do is they track my timer. So, you know, I have one of these here that tracks true shot. I have the remaining duration of turtle. I have how long my trick shots are up. My health bar that you see in the middle of my screen, that is also a WeakAura, along with the focus bar as well. If you guys would like any of that, and I do keep these updated every single tier, they will also be on that text document. So I think that's it, guys. It's pretty crazy. Let's send us off here in style. So I just wanted to say thank you guys again. I know I said at the beginning, but this has been an amazing expansion for me. I love Dragonflight. It has been so much fun. I've learned a lot about myself and continue to try to get better, and how I present my videos here on YouTube as well. I know that these guides go long. I think they always will go long. It's very difficult for me to not share all the little kernels and tidbits of information, and of course make the side comments every once in a while. But I will be live doing all of the raids again. I will have more Mythic Plus content. I will try to make an abridged, maybe Mythic Plus build guide, or like a guide on what items you should be shooting for, like in long form, just to kind of have a conversation about that. If I get to that, it'll probably be here in the next couple of weeks, once we figure out how quickly we'll get bullion, because that will definitely influence what items go on that video. But also, speaking of Mythic Plus runs, I will do a better job of doing complete walkthroughs of my Mythic Plus runs, instead of just saying like, hey guys, Tyler here, this is what we did, this was my build, like 1 or 2 blurbs, see you later, thanks for watching type thing. I'm gonna try to do that less, because I do post my Mythic Plus runs to get value out of them. Not to say that I don't get value, but I would love to go back and watch my own videos and be like, oh, you know, in the last month, this is what I was thinking when I was heading up to this spot in Uldaman Legacy of Tyr. And then in a future video, I might go, you know what, this is what I used to think when we were doing our pathing, using certain cooldowns at certain situations, but I found out that this works better, and continually build on those. But leave me your feedback down below. I really appreciate you guys supporting me all expansion long. I look forward to sharing more alpha videos if I ever get into it. maybe we'll please Blizzard. We'll see. As well as beta for sure, because I apparently paid for 3 days of beta access. I don't know what that's all about, but I kind of forgot that that was a thing. But I hope to get into beta to make some good quality changes and some quality feedback, because we desperately need that on Marksman Hunters for War Within if we want to make this thing work. They just put out the information. It's been out for a while for Dark Ranger, but Sentinel is finally out, and I think I was kind of onto something in my previous video when I kind of chatted about that. I didn't get everything correct, but I did get more than I thought I would, to be honest with you. But that's it for me. This is going to be my Season 4 Marksman Hunter guide. I appreciate it so much, guys. You guys are amazing. I look forward to chatting with you guys down in the comment section or in a future raid. So thanks for watching, and from me, best of luck in Season 4, regardless of what you do. PvP, PvE, raiding, Mythic Plus, pet battles, you name it, as long as you're having fun in World of Warcraft, and maybe even playing your Marksman Hunter, I wish you nothing but the best, and I look forward to delving into 11.0 and the War Within very soon. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.